About 100 people in Sudan are reported to have been injured in clashes with security forces during large-scale protests against Monday's military coup. The Sudanese Interior Ministry has denied that troops fired live rounds to disperse crowds. Demonstrators have been demanding the reinstatement of the ousted Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok. Well, let's get more on this from Joseph Tucker. He's senior expert for the Greater Horn of Africa at the United States Institute of Peace and joins us now live from Washington. Mr. Tucker, thank you very much for coming on the programme. The Western nations, the African Union, are withholding funds from Sudan. What impact is this going to have on military leaders?
I think this is a very evolving situation in terms of pressure being put on them. I think we've seen very good signs from the African Union, the United States, European nations, UK, Norway, but there needs to be much more public and private pressure from the region, Gulf states like the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, as well as Egypt. In some ways, the military assumed, I think, there was tacit support from those states. So getting them involved behind the scenes and publicly to really pressure the military is absolutely critical after we've seen this amazing turnout today in Khartoum and around Sudan.
When you say more pressure is needed, what form should that pressure take? Because there's a real concern that withholding money doesn't affect the military, it affects real people on the ground.
That's correct. And in the case of Sudan and what was South Sudan, there is truth to that. But I think what needs to be told directly to General Burhan and the military is that there is significant feeling of support that the military has, whether tacit or not, support from the region, from Egypt, from the UAE, from the Saudis, and likely Russia, that they will be supported financially and diplomatically on the world stage. There needs to be direct language, public and privately, that is not a valid assumption, that they overturn the transition in a constitutional order, and that cannot stand.
We've seen these pictures of hundreds, thousands of people on the streets, especially in the capital, Khartoum. Is there concern that this violence will spread?
You know, I think there is personally. I think today what was something that was sort of behind the scenes, not reported on, was there were significant acts of violence against protesters in areas far outside of Khartoum. There was some pretty horrific video of protesters being dispersed with live fire in Nyala and Darfur. Other protests were met with violence in Red Sea, other places like White Nile and Guedaref states. These places don't get a lot of international media attention. They sometimes will get a lot of attention in Sudan itself. So I think there is real danger that we will continue to sort of see that happen outside of Khartoum. Within Khartoum, I think that 2019 is illustrative here. There's periods of calm, periods of not so calm, and periods where the military forces crack down. And we're worried about that, I think, if in the coming days and weeks this drags on, there's really a need for more important and more precise looks at what that looks like on the ground in Sudan.
OK, Joseph Tucker, thank you very much for coming on the programme and sharing your insights with us. Much appreciated.
Thank you.